Hello YouTube, this is Frankie with my first figure review, and I'm going to do an absolute gem, the Dog Alien by McFarlane. This is the McFarlane Movie Maniacs Series 6 Alien-free Dog Alien. Now, I got this mint in the box. I know what you're thinking, oh why did you open it, blah blah blah. I like having my figures outside the box. Now let's go over a few features. So first of all, let's look at our accessories. So first of all, you've got the Dog Alien itself. Now this figure doesn't actually come with many accessories, but then again that's to be expected because you don't need many accessories for an alien. One of the few things you do get is the standard Movie Maniacs base with film card. Now unfortunately for me, my film card came rather bent. Unfortunately I don't think there's much I can do about that. I've tried straightening it out, but there's not much you can do. So that's pretty much it for accessories. You've got the figure and the stand. Now let's move on to articulation. We'll start off at the head. This figure has a pin and socket joint neck, which you can move backward, forward and rotate a little bit. Now this figure is rather strange because it has an action button. If you look behind the head, you will see a little button. Now with some force, you can push the button and the mouth will come out. Now I don't know about any other people, I've watched a few reviews of this figure, but you seem to have to push very hard to click back in place. Some figures I notice as well, you have to pull back on the button. Luckily mine doesn't. Let's move down the body now. At the armpits you've got a pin and socket joint where you've got pretty much 360-degree movement. Now unfortunately you don't have any articulation in the elbows. However you do have articulation as a pin socket in the hand. You've also got your ab crunch, which is a pin and socket joint. You can move it around quite well there. Moving down, you've also got pin and socket joints in the legs, where you can move them quite far apart and move them forward and backward to a big degree. Now once again, you've got absolutely no articulation in the knees. However, you do have articulation in the feet. Last but not least, you have this great big long tail. This tail is probably the longest tail of all the figures, by far. And it's got this nice great big scythe at the end. Now this is a rubber with a metal bendy wire inside, so you've got to be quite careful about that. What's great about this figure is it can be put into two different modes. Dog mode, which is what he's in now, and more of a crouch stand. I personally prefer the dog mode because the crouch stand doesn't look very impressive. Okay. Let's move on to accuracy. Now, watching this film, this figure is pretty darn accurate. The only complaint I've got is with the mouth at the front. In the film, it's much more pointed. However, it's probably the most accurate McFarlane alien I think I've seen. It's got a fairly good head length, probably needs to be a little bit longer. And it's got the nice slender body though, which the Dog Alien should have. Here we have the Dog Alien next to the McFarlane Movie Maniacs Series 6 Alien Resurrection figure. Now both these figures are 7-inch scale figures. And as you can see, I've now put the Dog Alien into its crouching pose. The Dog Alien, as you can clearly see, when sitting up isn't as high. However, when in dog mode, is much longer. Now if I bring in one of my human figures in 7-inch, we'll have a nice Michael Bean here, who plays Hicks in Aliens. Now you can clearly see how big this figure is compared to a human. You don't really appreciate the size of these figures in my opinion until you do compare them to a human. You can see that it towers, even in crouching mode, high above him. And in dog mode, must stretch at least 12 foot in real life. Here's another view of the dog alien compared to Michael Biehn and the Alien Resurrection alien. Now, as you can see, it is a very, very long figure. The Alien Resurrection tail is too long for that figure. We'll do that in another review, however. But you can definitely see there is a huge length difference. Now, when in dog mode, it only comes up to about the hip of a human, and this again is movie accurate. One more thing I should say about articulation is how the joints of the figure start off very stiff, and unfortunately they degrade in quality. So I had a lot of problems standing the dog alien back up after I'd moved it from crouched mode to dog mode. However, that's a small formality. Overall, I think this is one of my favourite Movie Maniacs Series 6 figures, and probably one of my favourite aliens. The articulation isn't brilliant, but the figure itself is a beautiful figure. I'll probably give it about an 8 out of 10. I would give it more if it had better articulation, and that's pretty much it. A very good figure. Till the next time.